Welcome dear learner. We are dealing with the course Understanding Competition Law, Theory and Practice. I am your instructor Dr. Mayank Pratap, Assistant Professor, Faculty of Law from Banaras Hindu University. Now today we will start the 8th module, which is the last module of this particular course, and in this module we will discuss the procedural aspects of regulation with the enforcement mechanism. If you remember the previous lecture, we have discussed the Competition Commission of India follows a detailed procedure to inquire into the combination outlined the Competition Act and Competition Commission of India. Procedure in regard to the transaction of business relating to the combination regulation. So there are some, you can summarize the whole process within the some steps what we have discussed in last session, from filing of notice to approval or rejection or modifying order of the CCI. If you remember the last session, we have discussed the procedural aspect where it started with the filing of the notice for the combination by the parties to the CCI under section 6 of clause 2. CCI established a prima facie review of the case whether it may hamper the appreciable adverse impact on market or that is not potentially harmful. If CCI believes that there is no impact or adverse impact on the market, CCI may approve it. But if the CCI believes this is the prima facie case which may lead to the appreciable adverse impact, CCI may review this case and may issue a so cause notice. And the third step is like after the receiving of so cause notice, it is important for the parties to respond to against such notice, and CCI may, for the purpose of further investigation, may direct to Director General for the further inquiry and gathering the evidence or the fact related to the case. Even CCI may issue a public or publication to the public for the purpose of the additional information or objection raised by the third party. And after the analyzing of the report submitted by the DG and the response of the parties and the factors or the parameter like the section 20 subclass 4, CCI may analyze the case and may issue an order under section 31 whether for the purpose of the approval, or CCI may reject, or CCI may propose the additional, the modified proposal, and this is the procedure for the purpose of the regulation. Now this module we will discuss the authorities which is important or which is the cornerstone or which is the pillar of this act, like you can say the execution authority or enforcement authority. Enforcement authority and enforcement mechanism. Enforcement mechanism are the regulatory procedure what we are dealing from the session 1 to today, that what CCI may issue, how CCI may look into this, what CCI have the power, how CCI will regulate this, what CCI may do for the purpose of investigation. These are the what we have discussed in particular case by case or occasion by occasion. But in today's session, we have to see what are the actual authorities and what is the mechanism. So let us start with the authorities under Competition Act. If you see, the Competition Act 2002 of India is designed to promote fair competition, prevent anti-competitive practice and protect consumer interest. Its enforcement mechanism are primarily administered by the CCI, supported by the other authority like DG and National Company Law Appellate Tribunal, and additionally the Act provides mechanism for grievance redressal to address violation and ensures accountability. The Competition Commission of India in cornerstone of the enforcement framework under the Competition Act 2002 of India. If you see the authorities involved in the enforcement from this act, you may see like the enforcement of Competition Act 2002 is carried out by the following key authorities, and each have its role in decision making power or by their functions or operation for the purpose of enforcement under this act or execution of the cases. So let's see what are the authorities. The first authority is very much important, and which is one of the proposed, or the you can say the preamble or the objective or aim of this act for the purpose of the legislation of this particular Competition Commission. The Competition Commission of India. The establishment and composition are given under section 7 and 8. Functions and power are distributed in 18, 19, 26, 27 and 31. Adjudication like 26, 27 and 31. The order and penalties are given under section 27, and its quasi-judicial powers are given under section 37, and there are some additional power like under section 49 and the section 18, which is about the international cooperation, which is basically the duties, or you can say we will categorize in the duties, function and power. Then we will discuss in by the category. But what you have to focus, what are the authority? Now the simple question is, what are the authorities under the Competition Act? So the authorities are like, first authority, that is CCI, Competition Commission of India. Second authority under this act is Director General. The third authority is National Company Law Tribunal, NCLAT, and of course central and state government, because there are certain provisions, even some regulations where the central and state government become important for the purpose of enforcement of the object and execution of the objects of this act. So for the purpose of Director General, we have to see particularly section 16, and the power lies in section 41. We will see the establishment of the National Company Law Appellate Tribunal in the section 53A, and the role is given under section 53B, and the reference of the central and state government is particularly given under section 19, 1B, section 55 and section 54. So we'll start the authority by authority to discuss its power, function, establishment, nature and the operations for the purpose of enforcement, or you can say the enforcement mechanism which has been taken by such authorities. So let's start with the Competition Commission of India, and we'll discuss first the establishment of CCI. The establishment of CCI, the basic provision is, the legal basis of the establishment of is, first you have to go with the objective of the act. If you remember the objective in first session, particularly in first module, we have discussed the objects of the legislation of this act is one of the basic object, the establishment of CCI. Now the legal basis is under section 7. If you see the section 7, the CCI is established a statutory body under section 7 subclause 1 of the Competition Act to exercise the power, perform the function confirmed by the act. It is a body corporate, it has perpetual succession, common seal and have ability to sue or to be sued under section 7 subclause 2. The CCI has its office located in New Delhi with the flexibility to establish office at places in India as determined by the central government as section 7 subclause 3. The objective of the establishment of the CCI is basically it is given under the object and aim of the Competition Act, what we have discussed in module first, but still the India's shift from monopoly restrictive trade practice 1969 to modern competition law framework, which is aligned to global standard, focusing on promoting competition and preventing market distort, the importance of CCI became necessary, and the establishment of the CCI was to ensure the mechanism and the regulations to click into the enforcement or execution. The CCI was initially constituted in 2003, but the enforcement power were delayed because of some legal challenges which took place in the case of Brahmadatta versus Union of India, and it became fully functional in 2009 after the amendment of the judicial clarity, making significant step to robust the competition regulation. So what was the case of Brahmadatta versus Union of India? Just for the sake of the decision, we have already discussed in the case actually, but still, if you remember, in 2005, the issue which was revolved around the constitutional validity of CCI and its appointing process. So if you see the breakdown of the case for your academic interest and for the purpose of the understanding, the background was the Competition Act 2002 established the CCI to prevent anti-competitive practices and promotes market competition. The Act allowed the central government to appoint a chairperson and member and CCI through a selection committee. The challenges were like the petitioner Brahmadatta challenged the constitutional validity of the CCI to appointment process with the argument that the chairperson should be the retired Chief Justice or Judge of the Supreme Court or High Court nominated by the Chief Justice of India or a committee led by the Chief Justice. Judicial member of the commission should be appointed by the Chief Justice of India or his nominee. The government stance was the Union of India proposed amendment to the Act suggesting that the chairperson and members be selected by the committee presided over the Chief Justice of India or his nominee. The government emphasized that the CCI is a regulatory body requiring expertise in a specific field which may not be limited to the judicial experience. And in the case, the decision of the court was, particularly the apex court, declined the pronounce of the challenge at this stage, citing the proposed amendment and suggested that the validity of the relevant provision. Basically, in this case, CCI hint, that means the court hint that creating two separate bodies, and after that the NCLT became operational. This case was become important. So now, what is the composition of CCI? If you see, this is section 8. Section 8 is about the composition of CCI, which consists the chairperson and not less than 2 but not more than 15, not more than 6 other members appointed by the central government as per section 8 subclause 1. The chairperson and member are collectively referred as the commission and will be responsible for adjudicating the case, overseeing the act implementation. And there is also the eligibility for that purpose, and the eligibilities is the appointing must be person the ability, integrity and standing at least with 15 year or professional experience in the field like international trade, economic, business, commerce, law, finance, accountability, management, public affair and administration. So they must have special knowledge or experience in competition matter, including competition law and policy. There is a selection procedure of such member which is given under section 9. The appointments are made by the central government based on the recommendation from the selection committee, chaired by the Chief Justice of India and their nominee, and the committee will include the nominee of central government, 2 other members with expertise in relevant field, the ensures to transport and merit-based selection process. Terms and conditions are in section 10. And the basic terms and condition like as per section 10 subclause 1, the chairperson and member serve a term of 5 years and are eligible to reappointment with the subject to the age superannuation, that is 65. They can resign by giving notice to the central government, or they can be removed by reason like insolvency, conviction of moral turpitude, physical mental incapacity or conflict of interest under section 11 by the central government. And there are certain restrictions on the employment of chairperson and other member in certain cases which are given under section 12, and it is stated that chairperson and the other member shall not for a period of 2 years from the date of which they ceases to hold office accept any employment in connected with the management or administration or any enterprise which has been party to the proceed before the commission under the act, provided that they may join any employment under central government or state government or local authority or statutory authority or corporation established or by the central, state, provincial act or government company. Salary and allowances of the chairperson and member are governed by the section 14, and these are the allowances, medical facility that will be prescribed and shall not be varied to his disadvantage after the appointment. What is the role of CCI if you see? The CCI is basically the primary regulatory and adjudicatory authority under the Competition Act 2002. Tasked with ensuring a competitive market environment, its role encompasses addressing the anti-competitive agreement, that is like in case of cartel bid rigging under Section 3, to curb the abuse of dominant position like predatory pricing, market denial under Section 4, reviewing merger, acquisition and amalgamation and may cause to the appreciable adverse impact under Section 5 and 6. And the basic role is just to promote the competition for the reason the shift from Monopoly Trade Act to Competition Act, like the advocating for the competition principle among businesses, government, consumer under Section 49, conducting market studies to identify competition issues in sectoral like e-commerce, telecom and digital market, protecting the consumer interest, which is the very much important, and basically this is the ultimate goal of the policy of the Antitrust Act, and the ensuring the anti-competitive practice that do not harm consumer through higher price, reduced choice or inferior quality. And the advisory role become important for the purpose of educating the competition under Section 49, which providing opinion to the central government or a statutory authority or competition matter. So with this you can see there are some important provision regarding the establishment of CCI. This act not only advocates the establishment of CCI, but this act has detailed provision regarding the establishment of CCI, what terms and conditions will be, what are the service condition of the member and chairperson, the quorum, that means what would be the minimum, what would be the maximum number in commission for the sake of commission, what are the basic role of the CCI. So in this session, what we have discussed today, actually, we have generally discussed there are two things. First, enforcement authority, and second, enforcement mechanism. Enforcement mechanism are the regulatory procedure given under this act and as well as in certain regulations. But this procedural aspect has been taken by the commissions or the authorities. So who will take the execution, the part of execution, that is the authorities. So under the first part, who is authority or who are the authorities under this act, we have discussed there are certain authorities like Competition Commission of India, Directorate General, even central and state government somehow, and Director General. So we have started with the discussion from the first aspect, that is the you can say the most important authority, that is Competition Commission of India. The establishment of Competition Commission of India is regulating through Section 7, what we have discussed today. What is the composition of the Competition Commission of India? We have gone through under Section 8. What are the service conditions? What are the terms? Section 9 and 10 we have also discussed here. The advantage, disadvantage from the terms of the service condition, Section 11 and Section 12. And particularly what we have discussed, the role of CCI, what CCI has role. So in this session, what we have discussed, this is the basic establishment and composition only. And there are certain part of the CCI, that is the power and you can see the function that we will discuss in next session. So for the today's session, what we have discussed, on such basis there are certain assessment tests for you. Just see what is maximum age limit of CCI member. 60 year, 65 year, 70 year or no age limit. The second question is for the assessment purpose. What is the term or office for the CCI chairman and member? 3 year, 5 year, 7 year or 10 year. you have to identify the one correct answer from this MCQ. And there is one another question where this you have to give your answer within 10 to 15 word, or you can say this is a single phrase. The who had the selection committee of CCI appointments. That means in the case of appointment of the chairman and member, there is a committee, and the committee which is known as selection committee. So you have to state that who is the head of that selection committee. For the hint, you may refer section 9 subclause 2. So with this, you may assess yourself with these questions on the basis of today's session. So into today's session, we have discussed only two things. First, who are the authorities under the Act, and the second, the first authority, that is CCI. We have discussed the establishment of CCI, the objective of CCI, and the purpose of CCI, which start with the legislative importance of the Competition Act from shift of merger, the Monopoly Act to that is Modern Competition Act. And the second thing is the establishment, the require of establishment, is there any legal basis of the establishment, that is section 8, composition, that is section 9, and other conditions, section 10, 11 and 12. So in next session, we will discuss its power function. So for today's session, I am leaving the questions for you for your assessment, and in next lecture, we will discuss the duties, power and function of CCI. So for today's session, thank you.